What's up, hobby friends? My name is Phil and welcome to Yoshi's Painting. Today, we're gonna make Mars. So what I'm actually doing here is I am doing a little bit of the old-fashioned PVA and glue on the base here. Simply because I kind of want to test the play sand versus the neutral texture, that white texture paste that I showed a little bit earlier, to see if you can actually see a difference between the two once you lay them down next to each other. That, and if there is a difference, it'd be nice to show graduation from rock to thick texture to the thinner textures that we're going to apply with the two pastes here after this step is over. Here I'm just dropping in some Pro Acryl's dark golden brown into the areas where we're going to do the dry soil mixture. Effectively, what I'm trying to achieve here is to give, once the crackle medium dries and you start getting those cracks and separation, I'm looking for a nice undercolor that will show through the cracks in the Soilworks dry soil paste that the crackle medium that we're gonna put down. So that's what we're doing here. All right, now we're gonna take the neutral texture and put it on the top of all of the cork rocks that we've made. Process is fairly simple. You just grab the texture, spread it on. Now we're going to come in with the desert sand and put this on next to the natural texture and along the bottoms of some of the rock formations to give like almost like a little bit of a sandbank and to give different textures to the top of the rocks. You can see here I kind of switched to an old brush that I had. It made spreading this out and evening it out and getting kind of the texture in the nooks and crannies a little bit easier. And finally, we're adding the dry soil to the mix. Now again, this is going to be put in between all the rock formations. to try and generate an appearance of like an old dried out riverbed or water source that's long since gone. I'm putting on this paste really thick, and it took a significant amount of time to dry. As a matter of fact, once I was done applying it all over this base, I actually left it overnight to dry out. And here it is with all the textures applied. As you can see, each individual texture, up to and including the PVA and the sand, I think it looks really fantastic. You can tell here that there is an actual delineation between the neutral texture and the PVA and sand. All right, now that we have all the textures applied, it's time to paint. I ended up taking Vallejo's whole red and giving this thing a very generous coat. The entire base was coated in the same color. And then after I went over the whole base, I went over sections of the rock again with the same color to make them darker, to help separate the sand and other textures, the dry soil, from the actual rock faces themselves. Here you can see where some of that second coat is coming into play here. The darker areas on the top of some of the rock faces, as well as just some of the lighter reds. No magic sauce here. It's really just going over the same whole red with the same color of whole red for a second darker coat. Here I'm actually taking a small dry brush and throwing on some Monument Hobbies orange against the rock faces to give them a little more color difference, so you can get some separation between the riverbed and the sand in the rocks there. I wanted to lighten it up a little bit so it just wasn't a whole bunch of red staring you in the face. I think it looks really good. I go on once and then again to brighten up the orange a fair amount. For some reason the footage didn't record, but after that I dry brushed all the tops of the rocky regions with a white, and then sprayed over the top of that with red ink. So that's it. Pretty quick and painless. I think the base came out well. Not too much of an advanced technique. Honestly, it's just kind of airbrushing or using a regular brush to paint on the reds, darkening up the reds where you need to, brightening up the rock faces with the orange, and then doing some more dry brushing on the tops and a little bit lighter red, and there you go. Bob's your uncle, as they say. As far as the products I used, I will be doing a review video on the two different AK Interactive and the Scaleworks Soilworks Scale 75 Soilworks, thank you, dry soil that I use to create but to effectively crackle medium. But I'm going to be talking about those in the next video. Let me know what you guys use for basing materials. I used a little bit of both of the traditional sand PVA and then some of the acrylic suspended basing materials that you can buy from local game store or hobby supply store. But yeah, that's it. Until next time, friends, keep slapping paint.